Hello, Dahi here again. Today I'm going to continue on with the playthrough of Prometheus Wept. If you've seen the last part, you'll remember that you've been dispatched to the drag with Zeke, one of the fishing fleet's captains, to scout the situation for the militia which are supposedly on the way. Again, a quick reminder, Prometheus Wept is currently on Kickstarter, so I'll leave a link in the description if you'd like to check that out. Now, from the last time, we've just rescued and healed Kara, who's a member of Zeke's crew. So we're just going to carry on with the next couple of encounters for this playthrough. And there's one of them not so far away over here. Okay. So as you can see, you've got 4 potential enemies up here, and 2 of them are, they're much larger than the others, so they're going to be more dangerous enemies. And Zeke describes them as men who are half mean drunk, half inspired brawler. So, and apparently in the drag we've got 2 of them, the Quint brothers. And so Zeke is basically trying to talk you out of this encounter, and it is an optional encounter. You can actually just leave it if you want to, because it's kind of geared towards being one of the more difficult encounters. So you've a fair few options here. You have diplomacy, you can challenge them to a fair fight. You can scare away one of the group, or you can encourage, or you can just attack, or, as I said, let Tiber's militia deal with them. So I've kind of got away pretty easily on luck the last time on random number generation, so I'm going to go for one of the more difficult options. So this one will give your team a boost, but you're going to have to fight all of the enemies. Okay, so, forgot to reload. So you're getting 1 extra AP and you've 1 extra damage threshold. And let's see, I'll try to take out one of the bigger enemies first. I'm just going to sit here with Zeke, put him into Overwatch. I noticed that his health isn't actually that great either. I should have bandaged, but let's see how it plays out. So that's a good bit of damage done to him. He's almost halfway down. And I think one of the Quint brothers has an iron bar, and he would be better to bring him down. I'm not sure which one it is because they haven't equipped it yet. The problem with attacking this guy is he's getting some benefit from cover, so I'm less likely to hit him. So I don't really like splitting up. I would have been better to focus on one enemy, but if memory serves, I think this guy's got an iron bar as well, so that would make him potentially a more dangerous enemy. So I'll try and focus on this character with Zeke, and he's got 11 AP. So that would mean I could do 2 attacks with the iron bar and 1 hand-to-hand attack. So I can potentially knock this guy out in this turn. That'll be a big advantage. Okay, that's great. Yeah, so this guy's he's got the iron bar, and he's decided that the player character is an easier target. You'll find that most of them will go for the player character because he's got a lower melee skill. Just when the AI is calculating up who they should attack, that's a consideration. Now there's a very high chance if I interrupt here, 46%, so I have a good chance of getting hammered. I'll just check what the chance to hit is. It might actually be safer just to try to chip away at them with hand to hand rather than risking was a lucky hit there. Okay, so I think probably the best thing to do would be to try and get rid of this guy with the iron bar. It's just that if he does hit, he can do an awful lot of damage. And once again, I think the random number god has been kind of kind on this playthrough as well. So that character's dazed now. It just means that they start with less AP. It's the result of taking a lot of blunt damage. Okay, so I'm just going to continue on with close combat because I'm sort of crowded into the corner here. And another enemy down. And I have 9 AP, so I can get 3 close combat attacks, or hand-to-hand. And as you can see, what I was talking about with the AI will typically try to target the character with the lowest close combat skill if it doesn't cost them too much extra AP. So I've got 9 AP, so I'll just keep chipping away at this guy. And I'll just switch over to this. There's a lower chance to hit with like a heavier weapon like the club, and that didn't really work in my favour as opposed to just using hands and feet. So he only got 1 attack there, likely because he's dazed. And just skip my turn there. There were a couple of other options there. If you could have went for Intimidate, and that would have reduced the number of enemies by 1. Would have made it quite a bit easier. The other option was Diplomacy, and that doesn't really work out the way you intended to, but it ultimately ends up having the 2 of the bigger characters, the Quints, fight one another. So it incapacitates one of them, and the other starts with lower health. And maybe you can just finish this guy off now. So the Diplomacy is probably the best one to pick in that, and I took a bit of a beating in this, so I'm going to just heal up. So to do that, you take bandages, put them in an equipment slot, select it, and heal. Now I'll likely add in functionality later on to just allow you to right click to within the inventory to bandage. Okay, so yeah, as you can see, the health's still a little low here, so I'm going to just use Valerian Paste. It's nowhere near as effective, but if you bandage multiple times, you get a status effect called Mummified, and this basically reduces your AP that you generate every turn. So it's kind of, you can do it if you're really low in health, but it's sort of advisable not to do it. Typically, if you have a higher medicine skill, it'll mean you will heal more from bandages, and you won't need to, try to heal multiple times and end up getting that negative status effect. So I am just going to head up to this encounter. And let's see, yeah. I'm just going to heal up a bit more because you could end up taking quite a lot of damage here depending on what happens. Okay. Okay, so you arrive at a campfire, and your initial impression is there's someone playing a flute, and that there's a number of dogs sleeping nearby. So it kind of seems a little odd that there's this sort of oasis of calm in all the madness. So you have a choice here. If you have high awareness, you can evaluate the situation before approaching, and if you don't, you're going to be forced to approach the camp. So I'm going to use the blue option. So you halt on the periphery, and you're just about to announce yourself when something about the flute draws your eye. The colour off-white. You realise you're staring at a carved human shin bone. So, okay, the song's harmony wavers, then breaks down completely, growing discordant and wild. One of the dogs sits up, head arching to the sky. The mournful howl sends jolts of raw electricity up your spine and reveals the animal as something older than man's best friend. Okay, so again, you've another option here with Intimidate, it comes up fairly often in combat, whereas Diplomacy is more likely to come up in non-combat situations. So I'm going to try to attempt to startle the wolves. So let out a roar and sprint at the nearest wolf. So you've basically driven off the nearest wolf. So you've evened up the odds quite a bit here. Okay. So wolves are faster. I'm going to actually bump their initiative a bit more in the future. They're also harder to hit than human opponents typically, but they have less HP. And I'm going to move Zeke up, and I'll just overwatch to catch the first enemy that moves. So the two wolves are not in great shape, but as you can see, that wolf is just carried on once again. They're all trying to get through to the weaker enemy, what typically they do anyway. Now the thing about wolves is if they attack you, they actually inflict bleeding. There's quite a high percentage of their damage, and there we go, a Molotov. Now it hasn't done very much damage as it stands, but if you stand in fire and attack, you basically have to get out of there immediately. I'll show you what happens if you stand in fire. So basically for every AP that you use in fire, you're going to take damage. So I only took 3 damage there. I think I must have something that's increasing my damage threshold a little. But if you... Yeah, so basically you kind of want to get out of fire as quickly as possible. Now it will continue to burn you, and you can also, like, I mean, if you wanted to, it's not really viable here, but you could run to the water and put the fire out if you wanted. That's also built into it. So that wolf's down now. And again, I've taken a little bit of damage when it's hit, a little bit of damage at the end of the turn, but if I stick in here now, I'll take damage for every AP that I spend in the fire, so obviously I'm going to get out of there. And that's that wolf down. So I'm going to close in on this character now. Reload. Okay. I should have closed in a little before attacking. Okay, I've got 1 bullet left, and that pretty much concludes that fight. There are some, there's obviously more stuff in the map here that I'm doing. I'm sort of just covering the basics. But there's, you can obviously pick up the wolf pelts and things like that, sell them. And there's quite a few other loot containers. So, let's see, close this. So now we've incapacitated all of the enemies that you're aware of. So you speak to Hans, who's hiding in the outhouse at the centre of the drag, the guy that spoke to us on the way in. So I'm just going to make my way over, and I think I'll wrap it up at that for today, and I'll conclude on the next playthrough, and I'll also talk a little about what will happen after this scenario. So thank you for watching, and if you have any questions, do let me know.